Good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like to talk to you today about belief. For those of you who were here last week, you'll remember my talk because I didn't have such a good week last week. And when I came in, one of the first people who saw me said, "Did you have a better week? Please." Because if you didn't, we just don't want to hear about it. But I did, thank you. But what I would like to talk to you about today is the transformational power of belief to change our lives, to change our world. The start of a new year is always a really good time to reflect on what we believe, why we believe what we fundamentally believe about ourselves, each other, and our world. For those of us who want to see a world transformed by compassion and peace and love, which is what we say, that is a very good place to start. You know, it's funny, but we go through our day and we say, I believe this and I believe that. There are a lot of things we believe which really are just kind of facts. Don't you find that to be true? We believe that the world is round. We believe that the earth travels around the sun. We believe that man landed on the moon. Those are all things that are verifiable, that are ascertainable, that we can look up in a book. Even though I did have a friend who had an elderly relative who believed that no one ever landed on the moon. She thought it was like a scam that people... Does anybody else ever have a relative that thought that? Yeah. No, that just could not happen. But it did. And regardless of what she believed or anybody else believes, there are footprints up there. And that's ascertainable. So there are some things that we all believe because we can just point to them. We can measure them. We can count them. So believing facts like these are not complicated. What I want to talk about today is a different kind of belief, a transformational kind of belief. The powerful faith that springs from our hearts in things yet unseen, in things we know to be true, in things that we need to step out and accomplish because we believe that they can be done. This is the kind of belief that energizes and transforms the human heart, that transforms us, that has transformed this community, because we have seen it day in and day out. My title today comes from Matthew 9:29 from the Bible. It's As You Believe. The story goes that Jesus was teaching and two blind men approached. They said, "Son of David, help me, help me." And instead of just healing them, he looked at them and he said, "Do you believe that I can do this?" And they said, "Yes." And so he touched their eyes and he said, "Let it be done for you according to your faith." Now, what does that story tell us? And again, the way I look at the Bible is as a metaphysical teaching, as metaphors and stories that we can each apply to our own spiritual journey. What does that mean? And I'll tell you what it means for me. The two blind men come forward. They are asking for help outside themselves. They realize lack. They realize a need for healing. They say, "I need someone to fix this." They see Jesus and they say, "Son of David, help," because somebody's told them that he can do these things. But he turns it back on them. And I invite you to consider that life always turns it back on us. And he says, "Do you believe that I can do this? Do you believe?" And that's the question each of us has to ask in our own hearts. Do you believe that I can do this? Do you believe that this can be done? And they said, yes. And it was their faith in that healed them. This story is not about Jesus or anybody else having the power to heal. In my view, it's about them having the faith that they can be healed. We all know the story of Unity co-founder Myrtle Fillmore, who had tuberculosis until she went, as she went, to a talk in which she first learned the principles that her mind could change her outcomes. And as she walked out, she said, "I am a child of God and I do not inherit sickness." And at that point, her world was transformed, and she and her husband Charles went on to transform the worlds of a great many others. Through the power of belief in the essence that runs through all of us. the belief that we can harness the divine power that runs through all of us. The Bible story that I just read you, Myrtle Fillmore's story, it teaches us the power to believe that we all can affect this change through the power of our own minds. This is the power that's available to all of us right now and right here or wherever we need it. We believe here at One World that a power of good is available to us wherever and whenever and however we personally identify it. As Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science, wrote, "I live in the faith that there is a presence and power greater than I am that nurtures and supports me in ways I cannot even imagine. I know that this presence is all-knowing and all-power and is always right where I am." How cool is that? Wherever we go, I step to the right. It is there. I step to the left. It is there. It never leaves me. I can believe it has left me. I can feel alone. I can feel despair. But I'm just wrong. It has never left me. And all I need to do is believe, to reach out and connect with it. We are surrounded by a creative, benevolent energy waiting to act on our input. This is the essential premise behind the concept we know as the law of attraction. Show of hands. Who has heard of the law of attraction? Yes. It's a basic premise. It's New Thought Spirituality 101. It's the third principle of unity. The thoughts held in mind produce after their own kind. So I invite you to consider this power is there right now. We know that the universe hums with the energy of abundance, waiting for us to claim it. One of the things I want to talk to you about today is just a couple of examples of extraordinary people who have believed that when they have a vision, when they have faith in accomplishing something, they can step out and they get it done. Even if they don't know what that next step is going to be, even if they can't see over that horizon. The first I want to talk about is Martin Luther King Jr. We're starting Black History Month this month. I think our kids' presentation is going to be about that, I'm thinking. I could be wrong. Don't hold me to it. Committed to justice and nonviolent social change, the power of his commitment to these beliefs changed our very social fabric, and it continues to do so today. When he started out, he didn't know what he'd be able to accomplish. When he started out, he wasn't Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. that we look at and we so respect today. He had a vision, he had an idea, he had an unwavering commitment to his belief in love, truth, social justice, and equality. Now, he was an articulate speaker, he was an inspiring speaker, but we also have to consider what he talked about. If we want to hook into the creative and the benevolent power that is around all of us, we need to be in alignment with it. We need to hook into that power. We believe in love, in peace, and compassion, because that is the energy that powers our universe. We hook into that, and we are just carried along. It amplifies our efforts. It explodes our efforts. And that's what Dr. King did. It's not just that he was an articulate, visionary speaker. It's that when he spoke, the power of his beliefs reminded us of what we all know is true. Isn't that what we find every week when we come here and we learn practical spiritual principles? It's nothing new. Nobody leaves that door and goes, whoa, I didn't know that. They leave and they go, yes, I am reminded of what I always knew. I'm reminded of what I came here knowing. And that's why we come here. And that's what he did. He reminded us that in our hearts, we believe in peace, we believe in compassion, we believe in equality, we believe in love. In his most famous speech, I Have a Dream, which he gave on August 28th, 1963, can you believe that was over 50 years ago? Seriously. We understand, and I did not know this, and I learned this as I was researching this talk, that the most famous part of his speech, where he talked about, I have a dream, and he said it over and over, I have a dream, I have a dream, was not even scripted. He had prepared remarks. And I will tell you as a speaker, prepared remarks are way cool, because you want to be organized and you want to know what it is you want to communicate. He was giving his prepared remarks, and he was about 12 minutes into the speech, and Mahalia Jackson was there, and she said, Martin, tell them about the dream. Tell them about the dream, doctor. And he put down his prepared remarks, and what came next is what we all remember. What came next came from his heart, came from his vision, came from his unshakable belief in what the human soul could accomplish. He said, I have a dream. And that was the metaphor he used. But make no mistake, he was communicating his rock-solid belief that out there people were listening, that all those folks out there would make it happen, because he was one man who woke that up in all of them. And he did. Now, there are others who have walked, not on the world stage, but who have still taken a belief and have changed the lives of those around them. I came across the story of a woman called Peace Pilgrim. Has anyone ever heard of Peace Pilgrim? I see some smiles, yeah. Peace Pilgrim, I just want to tell you her story because it is inspiring. It inspired me. This is a lady whose name was Mildred Lizette Norman. She was born in 1908 in Egg Harbor City, New Jersey. She was just like the rest of us. I mean, although she was very special, she was nobody special. She was just like the rest of us. She grew up, she did well in school, she had siblings, she married, she divorced. How many of us go through all that? Okay. In 1938, she experienced a spiritual conversion. She was out walking in the woods, and she just knew that there had to be more. How many of us are sitting in this seat right now because we knew at some point there had to be more? All of us. That's what gets us here. That's what happened to Peace Pilgrim, and that wasn't even her name yet. In the glade, in the moonlight, she just looked up and she said, use me. I don't know what for. Just use me. I am here to serve. Whatever you call me to do, I am ready. The next 12 years she spent continuing her spiritual journey, not knowing what she was going to be used for, but she knew that her name was on tap because she had said, use me. She had opened herself up. She had expressed her belief that there was something for her to do, and she was waiting to know what it was. In 1951, she knew what it was. She put on an overshirt that said Peace Pilgrim. She took no money. She took no food. She took some pamphlets, and she started walking. She walked 25,000 miles between 1951 and 1953 and 1981. When she began her pilgrimage, she took a vow to, quote, remain a wanderer until mankind has learned the way of peace, walking until given shelter, and fasting until given food. Literally, she just walked 25,000 miles. I can't even tell you how many times she traversed the country. She became so well known that she was asked to speak. She would have to walk to get there, but when she got there, she would speak. She would communicate her message of peace. Think about that. Just her actions of starting to walk, knowing she didn't have any graduate degrees, she didn't have a blog, she wasn't on TV, but she said, I can do something. I can walk. I can speak. I can convey love. This is what she wrote. We must walk according to the highest light we have, encountering lovingly those who are out of harmony and trying to inspire them to a better way. Whenever you bring harmony into any unpeaceful situation, you contribute to the cause of peace. When you do something for world peace, peace among groups, peace among individuals, or your own inner peace, you improve the total peace picture. No action is fruitless. My simple peace message is adequate, really just a message that the way of peace is the way of love. Love is the greatest power on earth. It conquers all things. Imagine what courage that took. And she didn't know that. I mean, people could have viewed her as a total crackpot. She didn't care. She said, this is mine to do. And she went out, and with the power of her conviction, she made a huge difference. And she continues to do so. I invite you to Google her. Just Google Peace Pilgrim. She's got a webpage. She's now dead, but she's got, her legacy lives on. She has a webpage. She has people who are continuing her work. The examples I gave brings me to my next point. Those two people stepped out because they had a belief. They also stepped out because they believed that they could do it. They had faith that even though they were not perfect, there might be somebody out there better, but they were on the stage. They were the ones who could step out right now and make a difference. Dr. King, Peace Pilgrim, they didn't step back and say, whew, this is a problem. My goodness, I hope somebody picks this up. Where's the remote? No, they didn't. They stepped out and they did it. The power of belief, the power of love, the knowledge that we each can make a difference is what transforms our lives and our worlds. I invite each of us just to look inside our own hearts and ask, what is it that we believe? What is it that we believe about ourselves? What is it that we believe about our ability to make a difference? What task, what vision is on our hearts that we know we can do? That we know we are ready to do, to step out in faith and start. This is a good week to do that. I'd like to leave you with this quote from Rabbi Menachem Schneerson. For hundreds of years, perhaps since the beginning of creation, a piece of the world has been waiting for your soul to purify and repair it. And your soul, from the time it was first emanated and conceived, waited above to descend to this world and carry out that mission. And your footsteps were guided to reach that place. And you are there now. We are there now. Let's take these thoughts again.